Aargau Topsport und Tele1 präsentieren die 21. Ausgabe vom Baden Masters vom 20. bis zum 22. August. Die amtierende Olympiasiegerin bei den Damen, Anna Hasselborg aus Schweden, fordert die Herren-Weltelite raus. Das hat es noch nie gegeben. Können die amtierenden Herren-Weltmeister aus Schweden ihren Titel verteidigen? Wie halten die Schweizer Top-Teams mit? Girling-Weltklasse der Damen und der Herren direkt vor der Haustür. Das Baden Masters wird präsentiert vom Swisslo Sportfonds Aargau, V-Zug, dem Schweizer Haushaltsgerätehersteller und der Walde Immobilien AG, die Mensch und Immobilien zusammenbringen.
Fang an!
Ist schon dort?
Besser. 13,5.
Nein.
Michi, musst. Jep. Noch ein bisschen. Spitz aktiv einfach.
Good afternoon, Curling World. Welcome back to the WCT Masters 2021 edition here in Baden in Switzerland. You join us for the last round of the round robin. It's been a busy couple of days here. We have 4 groups of 5 teams, 20 teams in total, and this is the last round robin before the quarterfinals this evening. And what a matchup we have for you in this final round of the round robin. 2 very familiar teams, but don't typically play each other. So on the left of your screen there, you can see Team Yannick Schwaller from Switzerland. They are skipped, and 4th thrower is Yannick Schwaller. 3rd thrower Michael Brunner, 2nd thrower Romano Meyer, and lead thrower is Marcel Käufler, coached by Bernhard Federmann. And on the right of your screen, another very familiar team to curling fans. It's a team from Sweden, skipped, and 4th thrower is Anna Hasselborg, 3rd thrower Sarah McManus, 2nd thrower Agnes Knockenhauer, and lead thrower Sophia Marbergs. 2 very familiar teams, very popular teams for curling fans, but we don't get to see them play each other very often because, as you probably have noticed, typically Anna Hasselborg's team would not take part in this competition, that being a men's competition. So we'll discuss how they got here in just a second. My name is Lorna Rettig, and I will be hosting us through this final round of the round robin. There's all kinds of interesting stuff going on out there. 4 interesting games in this round, as well as some interesting permutations in the table regarding who will qualify for this evening's quarter-finals. We've had loads of great curling already the past 2 days. We started off yesterday morning at 8 o'clock. We've had a featured game every round on sheet 2, and the static cam has been watching sheets 3 and 4. There's surely
but none of them curling.
Tons of curling for the most avid of fans.
But he was he started with 40, so it doesn't count. Yeah, you played everyone, yeah.
Sounds like Joel and Yannick just having a bit of a chitter-chatter there. So let's see who else is out there on the ice today. On sheet 1, the invisible sheet, that's the only sheet that we can't watch, unfortunately. We have Jaap van Dorp's team from Netherlands playing Ramsfjell's team from Norway. In our featured game here on sheet 2, we have Team Yannick Schwaller playing Team Anna Hasselborg from Sweden. On sheet 3, we have Team Bannwart also from Switzerland, playing Retornaz of Italy. And on sheet 4, we have Team Klima from Czech Republic playing Team André Schneider, also of Switzerland. I can tell you who needs to win and what needs to happen in all of these games as well. So over on sheet 1, we've got Van Dorp playing Ramsfjell. I was getting it so good. We have Van Dorp's Netherlands team playing Magnusson. Ramsfjell.
At his brother's wedding.
And we know now that I need to practice my Norwegian because the Europeans are going to go ahead in Lillehammer.
So you played,
and all the teams will be there.
Rock.
Yes, less jibber jabber from Yannick and from Joe, please. We're trying to concentrate on curling here. So on sheet 1, we have Van Dorp against Ramsfjell, and Team Ramsfjell, they already have 4 points. If they win this, they will go to 6 points, and they will guarantee themselves a place in the quarterfinals this evening. Van Dorp's team, they're on 2 points, so they need to win this to go to 4 points and give themselves a chance at a quarterfinal berth. It's a good time now to point out, to just revise ourselves or remind ourselves rather of the rules. And what happens is, it's not just the top 2 from each group that qualify, so don't get confused. We've got 20 teams out there, and at the end of this, the final round robin, all 20 teams will be ranked. If you have 6 points, or 8 points, I think there's a couple of teams are on 8 points, that's probably, that is enough to get you to the quarterfinals. There will be a huge pile of teams on 4 points. I think there will be about 6 teams or so on 4 points, depending on how the results go. And you will be able to qualify with 4 points, but it will come down to that last shot draw. So it's still all to play for. You're not out of the competition if you've got 4 points, as long as you've got a handy last shot draw. So that's why, if Van Dorp wins, if they have a good last shot draw, they still stand a chance of qualifying for the quarterfinals this evening. So that's the situation. After this round robin, the teams will be ranked 1 to 20 based on games won and then their last shot draw. So the situation on our sheet, Yannick Schwaller, their team already has 6 points. So even if they would somehow lose this game, they will still qualify for the quarterfinals. And Hasselborg's team, they had a really close game this afternoon. They had 2 wins yesterday, so they are on 4 points, but they didn't win that game to automatically qualify at lunchtime, so they need to win this game to be sure of qualifying. That would bring them to 6 points. Otherwise, they will stay on 4 points and join the big pile in the last shot draw. On rink 3, we have Bannwart against Retornaz, and that's fairly academic, that game on rink 3. Retornaz, they're already on 6 points. They are already qualified for the quarterfinal. All that Bannwart can do is make Retornaz's life maybe a little more difficult. If they manage to get the win here, then Retornaz will stay on 6 points and maybe have a slightly trickier quarterfinal. But Retornaz still qualified, and that game can't affect their qualification. And we have another interesting one on sheet 4. Team Klima against Team Schneider. Team Klima's competition, unfortunately, is over after this game. They won't qualify, but Team Schneider, they still have possibilities. They beat Anna Hasselborg's team at lunchtime on the very last stone of the game. That was a really exciting game. If you didn't see that, that's in the video archive for this channel. Well worth a watch there. And that win this morning has given them a chance to pull themselves up to join that list of teams on 4 points. They had a tough day yesterday, Schneider's team. They had 2 losses yesterday, but that win at lunchtime, or rather this morning, that means that they've now given themselves a chance. If they have a good last shot and they win this game, they will also move to 4 points, and they will join that list of teams on 4 points and give themselves a chance. So that's an interesting lineup there as well. I think it's worth mentioning poor old Team Klima out there from Czech Republic. As I said, they can't qualify anymore. Their competition will be finished after this game. But gosh, they got off to quite a start. They were within 1 stone of beating the Olympic champions Anna Hasselborg, and lost it right on that last stone. And then they lost in an extra end to Team Hess from Switzerland. So not for lack of trying that Team Klima's tournament is finished for them after today. So they're still looking for that first win, Team Klima, but I thought it would be nice to mention that, of course, they've given several teams quite a headache, but just not quite finding the results. So all kinds of interesting stuff going on out there. As I said, there are a few teams on 4 points already, and they are all out there in the club room, I think, or maybe back in the hotel watching what's going on. I'm not sure if there's a record of, well, of course there is a record of the last shot draw, but I'm not sure where that's available for the teams to check, but I'm sure they've all got their calculators out and they've been adding it up game per game. But very conservative start here in our featured game between Yannick Schwaller and Anna Hasselborg. Which was very convenient because that gave us a chance to talk about what else is going on. If you're just joining us, welcome, welcome. This is the last round-robin session of the Baden Masters 2021 edition. You join us on a lovely sunny late summer weekend here in Switzerland. We didn't get that right last year. It was a bit grey and wet and thundery last year, so somebody's fixed that this year. And we've had a load of good curling already in the round-robin, and still plenty of interesting stuff going on out there. As we said, if you have 6 points, or there's a couple of teams on 8 points, you will qualify for the quarterfinals, and there will be, I think, about 2 teams who have 4 points. They will be able to qualify for quarterfinals based on their cumulative last shot draws. So all eyes on this session, and all eyes on our featured game, which is Team Yannick Schwaller, the current European silver medalists, against Team Anna Hasselborg, the Olympic champions from Sweden. This is not a matchup we get to see very often. I think we've seen both of these teams loads of times, but not typically on the same sheet playing against each other. So how did that happen? What is Anna Hasselborg's very qualified ladies team doing here in this men's competition? And the answer, in one word, is coronavirus. What happened is, you may remember last year that in several of the competitions there were a few last minute changes. Teams that had hoped to play, they wanted to come but were unable to travel and had to pull out rather last minute. And similar situation this year. We have our teams back from Norway. We have 3 teams from Norway. They've all been having quite a nice steady competition. They were able to travel this year. Our teams from Scotland were sadly not able to travel again this year. They hoped to. They were on the roster. They wanted to play, but there was a bit of delay getting their vaccinations and so on in order, and eventually they were not able to travel in time, or they weren't able to get everything sorted out in time. So Scottish teams not able to travel, and that left us with a couple of spaces on the roster. And the organisers thought, which teams could we ask to fill in for the Scottish teams who aren't able to travel, some world-class teams not able to come? Where can we get some top-class teams with a bit of short notice? And lucky us, they followed the example that we had in Boden last year at the inaugural Boden WCT event. And lucky us, Anna Hasselborg's team and Irene Schori's team, one of the top Swiss ladies teams, they said, yeah, we accept the invitation, we will put ourselves out there. If you remember last year, it was a very similar thing in Boden. A couple of teams who really wanted to come were not able to travel at the last minute, and we needed a replacement, and Silvana Timinzoni's team kindly plugged that gap for us. And what a lot of fun we had watching that team. They only got knocked out on the last stone of the semi-final, losing on the last stone to a 4-foot draw by Bannwart from memory. And they really showed us that, yeah, why not? You know, if we have this rather exceptional circumstance and we need a bit of a last-minute replacement, why not? The top ladies teams are absolutely capable of being out on this stage and giving these men's teams absolutely as good a game as any of the other teams that would typically be in this competition. So we're all very thankful to Irene's team and to Anna's team for putting themselves out there. And that's how we end up with these 2 very well-known teams playing each other. I know a lot of support out there this weekend for Anna's team and for Irene's team. Irene's team, we got to watch them yesterday evening. Their competition, unfortunately, is already over. They ended up on 1 win and 3 losses, but again, a little bit like Team Klima, They were
Schrobt off
getting
to
all the way to the last stone and last end, but just not quite getting it over the line. But a lot of support, I think, for Irene's team to say yes to this competition, and I think they did really well in this new environment. And Hasselborg's team still very much in the mix. Hasselborg's team got 2 wins yesterday, but a loss at lunchtime today. That means they're currently in the big mix of teams on 4 points. They would love to win this game and make sure they get to the quarterfinals. Yannick Schwaller's team already on 6 points and already qualified for the quarterfinals. But yeah, I think they'll be taking this one pretty seriously as well. I don't think they want a loss on their record. They'd much rather go to 8 points and potentially qualify top of the pile. So they'll be concentrating just as hard for this game as for any other. Welcome to the second end then of our final round robin game here, in the Baden Masters 2021 edition. Still got games left for you to watch this weekend. The quarter-final is at 8:30 this evening, European. Semi-final is tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock European, and the final at 1:30 European. Schwaller starting with hammer in this game. The first end was blanked. Therefore, Schwaller still has hammer here in the second end. Sweden lying 1, but that yellow out there on the right of our screen. Hasselborg's team playing yellow stones. It's wide open. I don't think they'll expect that to figure much at the conclusion of the end. They need to do something about that red on the wing that's looking a little bit dangerous. I think the call is to draw and corner freeze that yellow and try to cancel it out. First stone then at the second end for third thrower Sarah McManus. If you want to say hello in the chat, tell us how you've been over summer, tell us how your weekend's going. If you want to show support for your favourite team. Oh, that's unlucky, Sarah. It looked like really nice weight, but just really caught that curl and caught the guard there. And now indeed that open Swedish stone. Yannick could hit and roll. I think that might be the better idea, is to go for that yellow stone just played. Maybe the hit and roll. Schwaller with last shot. They want to build an end. Looks like we've got lots of folks in the chat this evening. I know it's a nice weekend out there as well. But maybe you can take your iPad into the garden or something and you can enjoy the sun and have curling. We have superfan Michaela. I know she's supporting Anna Hasselborg this weekend, and Megan as well. I think secretly everybody's supporting Anna Hasselborg this weekend. I think everybody would find that pretty cool if Anna Hasselborg's team would finally have their name on this men's trophy. That would be a fun little curling trivia question in years to come. Second stone then for Sarah McManus. She's looking now for the hit and roll behind the centre. Make Yannick Schwaller's life a bit more difficult. She's certainly got it. Nice shot, Sarah, yeah. You heard Yannick also saying nice shot. That's very typical in curling. It's typically a fairly respectful and friendly place. You heard Yannick and Joel having a bit of a chat about how's your family at the beginning of the game. It's that kind of environment where, yeah, the teams know each other very well. They're typically pretty friendly with each other. And that's not unusual. When you play a nice stone, it's not unusual for your opposition team to say, well played, nice stone. We all like to see good stones. So, second shot here for Michael Brunner, third thrower in Schwaller's team. I think he wants to, again, just boop that yellow on the nose. You can see Marcel Keufler trying to sweep that stone to encourage it to curl. He got a little bit of curl, but that red is out in the open. So got exactly the right way. That punched that yellow just through the back, but didn't quite find the curl. So it looks like there will be another opportunity for that hit and roll behind cover for Anna. Schwaller with last shot here in the second end. We can say hello to the folks in the chat. As I said hello to superfans Michaela and Megan already. And we have Michal, that looks like a Polish name. Welcome, Michal. Welcome, Johan. I hope we answered your question about Hasselborg making the playoffs. They don't have to win here, I don't think, but or that's to say, if they don't win here, they still have a chance, but I don't know their last shot draw, so that definitely they would rather win here and not have to rely on last shot draw. We have Clock Basher, welcome, Curling Seb, Levin Schmidlin checking in from Bern. He may be a Schwaller fan, wanting the Swiss teams to do well. If you want to say hi in the chat, you are most welcome. So Michael is indeed from Poland. Welcome, welcome. I've had the pleasure of playing a few Polish teams over my time. That's always a tough game, yeah. Poland got pretty good pretty quickly. No Polish teams though at this event. I think maybe the Polish Association still restructuring or something like that, but good to have you, Michael. If you have a question about the tournament, or if you want to share your thoughts about anything, we love to see it. You are most welcome to. Well, you can ask me, or if I don't know, maybe someone else in the chat does. Michaela, you may find it interesting, a little fun fact about me. For a year or two, I was a member of Curl San Francisco, and I have a jacket to prove it. Michaela's our super fan in San Diego. So first stone here in the second end for Yannick Schwaller of Switzerland. Yannick's team already qualified, but in no mood to take their foot off the gas, I wouldn't think. So he's now looking for that hit and roll. Both teams not quite getting that fully hidden. And I think he has overdone this. I think that may be going to roll too far. And you see Sarah sweeping that as far as it'll go. And exasperated sigh from Schwaller. Oh gosh, I can't tell from my angle what's going on there, but yeah, I think Anna's shot would be the same anyway, that she will want to sink one round in behind the centre and force Yannick Schwaller to score maximum 1 point.
Ich bin nachher eine Stunde lang dran geblieben, habe ich dann wieder Ja, ich habe noch.
Levin from Bern says he does like to see Team Schwaller, and he also likes Team Hasselborg, so that's a nice win-win. Whoever gets the points in this game will be happy. Yeah, it looks like a couple of folks here in the chat saying they hadn't realised this tournament's on. It is an early one. It's still end of summer, really. As I said, it's a nice sunny weekend here in Switzerland. So do make sure you're subscribed to WCT. Make sure you hit the subscribe and hit the bell so that you do get a notification when a game is coming, because nobody wants to waste curling. Although if you have accidentally missed a game, and accidents happen, then all of the games we've been watching this weekend, they are all in the video archive for this channel. That should keep you going for the next couple of weeks. And then we're back in Adelboden for the second edition of the WCT Men's Invitational. And as far as I know, it is only men currently on the roster. Welcome Mark from Maryland. He's a Hasselborg fan as well. He was maybe a little bit confused or surprised to see on Team Hasselborg's Instagram they were playing in this competition. Maybe thought there had been some sort of mistake, but no indeed. Anna's team very kindly agreed to accept a place to replace one of the Scottish teams that wasn't able to travel. There was a possibility that Silvana's team, they are now double world champions, there was a possibility that Silvana's team would be able to play, but Esther Neuenschwander, she had a small accident. She's fine, but she had a small accident. She hurt her ankle, I think, or her foot when she was just out hiking one weekend, so they had to unfortunately decline. Oh gosh, so that was, yeah, that is not the start that Hasselborg and all of us ladies fans wanted. That's uncharacteristic there from Anna's team, and ooh, golly, that is quite a mountain to climb. That was at least 3, I think, and it might even have been 4. You saw Michael Brunner just pausing before he moved all the stones to check we all had agreed. Megan, I agree that Schwaller can be tough. Yeah, they've beaten all the top teams. Yeah, they're not scared of anything. They won the event in Champery last year, Schwaller's team. Was it Champery? Or was it Adelboden? They definitely won. They all blend into one in my head, but yeah, they definitely were winning tourneys last season as well. Tough to get past Peter de Cruz to get out of Switzerland. They're, in a way, unfortunate to be in such a strong country where you can be, you know, top 5 or so teams in the world, but you're not quite number 1 in your own country. But yeah, I think everybody takes Yannick Schwaller's team pretty seriously. As I said, they won the silver medal at Europeans last time. That was in 2019. No Europeans last year. Still waiting to see what was the count. I don't blame Anna for not really wanting to put up all those points on Schwaller's scoreboard. But as I said, yeah, that was at least a 3, so a long way back for the ladies here, but they're the Olympic champions. Still smiling. They've got the shots to do it. That was a big 4. Oh no. Well, if you're going to lose a 4, we always say do it at the beginning of the game, and then you've still got plenty ends left. But of course, preferably, try not to lose a 4 at all. Clockbatcher says everyone looks overweight on this camera, and he adds a lol to indicate that he's kidding, because I'm sure none of our guys out there are anything but 100% fit. They will have been working in the gym all over summer, and all of these teams now typically are working on their curling as well as their fitness over summer. It used to be that, certainly still at the club, we typically have a bit of a break over summer. You maybe play one fun social tournament in summer, but yeah, typically we all have a bit of a break, but these guys not so much anymore. It's only Netherlands, Van Dorp's team, that's the only country that doesn't have summer ice now. All of these other teams, they will have been able to throw stones during summer as well. So even though this is the first tournament for us, I don't think there'll be any particular stiffness or any side effects from that for the teams out there. They're really playing the whole year round. So they maybe look a bit squashy in the camera angle, but I can assure you they're not. Curling Seb in the chat says, what do you think of Team Ramsfjell's chances? So they're on 4 at the moment, and they have to get past Van Dorp. I definitely think they've got the shots to do it. I feel like I've had a frustrating weekend watching Team Ramsfjell. We've watched 2 of their games here on our featured game. And as I say, so that exact 4 won the Universiade in 2019. This team knows how to win. They've got the shots. They've been together a few years. But I feel like maybe there's something more in their heads that are maybe kind of stopping them from playing with real good confidence. They didn't have a happy game at all this morning when we were watching them against Joel's team. Joel's team very solid, of course, but yeah, the Norwegians were not putting pressure on them. They had a couple of complete misses, which is very unlike them. So against Van Dorp, I'm not sure. I think Van Dorp typically plays very aggressively. They blanked their first end, I can update you there, but yeah, Van Dorp typically plays very aggressively. They're not afraid to keep a bunch of stones in play and have Wouter draw them out of trouble if needed. I think if they play with the kind of hesitation that they played with at lunchtime, I would fancy Van Dorp, honestly. I think Van Dorp more likely to win that one. Van Dorp last year's finalists against Team Edin. They're having a bit tougher time of it this year. They were unbeaten going into the quarters last year, but had a couple of losses. Essential that they win this to give themselves a chance.
Yep. Clean.
I can tell you how our other Norwegian teams are doing. Stefan Walstad, they are on 6 points, so they're already qualified, I think, for this evening's quarters. Good weekend's work from them. Team Nedregotten, they did not have such a happy weekend. They didn't win a game this weekend, so their competition finished for this time. But definitely one Norwegian team qualified, and let's see if Ramsfjell can qualify a second Norwegian team. We didn't have Norway last year. They weren't able to travel because of coronavirus restrictions. So we're really happy to have them back this year. We didn't have Scotland last year, and we still don't have Scotland this year, which we're all a bit sad about. We were looking forward to seeing them, but they, as I said, were a little bit delayed getting their vaccinations and all the administrative things in order, and finally weren't able to travel. But the silver lining from that COVID-shaped cloud is that we get to watch this lineup out here, Anna Hasselborg's team, and we got to watch Ivy Schori's team as well. Not all doom and gloom then.
He's an amazing slash double.
In some way then, having put up that big four in the second end, Schwaller's team and Hasselborg's team now chasing, in some way this should be quite an interesting and aggressive game to watch. Anna's team definitely have the shots to get this back. Look, you see they're putting their stones just in front of those reds, trying to get them a little bit of backing, a bit of protection, trying to get a mistake from Schwaller. So in some way it should be an interesting watch, but on the other hand, it's, I would say it's really uphill for the next 6 ends for Anna's team. Oh, that's interesting. Curling Seb tells us that team Nedregotten, this is just their first season in that lineup. I wasn't sure since we weren't able to watch our Norwegian teams last year. So thanks for that, Seb. That, yeah, we have to start somewhere, step by step. And just because you don't go away with a win at this competition, that doesn't mean you've had a bad weekend. There are no dummy teams out there, and all of these games are tough.
Hier inside wäre perfekt, aber konzentrierst dich für den Doppel, gell? Einfach Nase ist super, ja. Aber ein klein das wäre schön, ne?
Michael asks if we show any Canadian tournaments. Your quick answer, Michael, is this team, our technical team here in Switzerland, would probably not be involved. It is possible remotely, but probably not involved. I think typically they do, though. I think they maybe have a Canadian equivalent over there.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Whoa, yep! Whoa! Whoa!
Schwaller's team not messing about here. And Anna's team need to just keep their focus. They need to keep concentrating. It is a long way back. And if any team has the mental strength to just be patient, keep putting your shots in play, the boys are going to get a mistake at some point. If anyone can focus their way to get this game back, I'm sure it's Anna's team. Someone's scoring this end then. I don't see a blank coming here. Then again, maybe that's what they're looking at. Anna's certainly a comfortable big hitter. You're getting 1 point back here and handing hammer back to the boys. It's not going to help them in the long run, I don't think, and that could be why she's looking at, well, with our first shot, maybe let's give ourselves a chance at a blank. And if there's really no chance with her next shot, they maybe just have to accept putting out 1 point on the board, but maybe give themselves the chance, why not? Nothing to lose with trying this shot. It didn't quite come off then. I'm not sure if they maybe didn't quite find the line. So indeed, someone scoring this end. I don't see her trying for a blank again. That would be suicidally risky. We're in the third end here of the 2021 Baden Masters WCT event. We're in the last round of the round robin, and it's all to play for. We have 4 groups of 5 teams, and at the conclusion of this round robin, all 20 teams will be ranked 1 to 20 based on how many games they've won, so points for wins, and then their last shot draw. So even if you have 2 wins, which several of the teams do, including Anna Hasselborg's team, your last shot draw will come into play. Yeah, I can't see any chivalry going on out there. I can't imagine the boys will be gentlemanly about this. That's 2 very competitive teams out there. And indeed, Schwaller's team not taking their foot off the pedal here. They're putting all kinds of pressure on Hasselborg's team. Looks like she may be going for the triple again. It could be that they've said to themselves, okay, let's make sure we at least get the double. And not great to lose one more shot, but then at least they'll retain last stone, and maybe they have a better chance to build in the next end. Well, Michael, they certainly think the triple's there, and Anna's a nice, confident player. No reason not to get it. She had a look at it last stone. She'll have corrected. This sounds more promising. Oh, she was so close to it. But that is a steal of 2, I think, to the Reds. So if you were joining in for this game, better be quick, because we may not be able to survive this kind of tactics much longer. And again, if you were at the club at this point and you were dominating like this, you might take your foot off the gas a bit, because as I said, curling is a very respectful sport. It's typically very friendly. And if you were at the club, you would take your foot off the gas at this point, because it's a kind of unspoken rule that you want to give your opposition a bit of a chance. So nobody wants to humiliate the opposition or put too many points past them. But of course, the lady's ready to throw there. They're certainly used to winning ends. But at this level, you will not take your foot off the gas. You have a job to do. You're out there to win. And hats off to Schwaller. They will not take the pressure off here. They will keep going for it. They're playing the Olympic champions, and they will respect that and say, well, champions, show us what you've got. Oh, there's my friend Glenn in the chat. Glenn Newell, big shout out to you, Glenn, and Joey and the rest of the team. Glenn and Team Joey Taylor, the rest of that team, they're champions from their leagues in Canada, and we had the pleasure of playing them in an Icelandic tournament. That's one of our favourites. So, big hugs to you, Glenn, and the rest of the boys. Hope we can see you at some point in Iceland again soon, or another tournament.
Nuni, 2 dick los. Ha, dick halbe bist auch noch gut.
Same drill then for Hasselborg's team. They're going to try to keep guards out front.
Nein. Michi.
I was concentrating on the chat there, so I missed Schwaller's first stone.
I think we can stop it, but I'm not sure. Oh.
You heard one of them saying, I think we can stop that stone. What they meant was they anticipated exactly that situation happening, that they were going to spin out the Swedish stone, which is protected by the free guard zone. So it goes back, and it's the Swedish ladies who get to replace their stone where they think it was before.
Ist einfach keine Lust mehr wieder.
Ja, jetzt merkt dass das Spiel nicht so viel für sich.
Levin asks in the chat, is it 8 or 10 ends played in each game? It is 8 ends, Levin. You really only play 10 at the Worlds or Pacifics or Europeans. A little bit like in tennis, where you really only play the 5 sets at Wimbledon or Roland Garros or so. 8 ends here. If the scores are tied after 8 ends, then there will be an extra end. We've had a couple of extra ends yesterday, to the great disappointment of everyone except the team that needed it, because we had a very, very tight schedule. Not too much flexibility for extra ends. And the finals, well, the knockout games, the quarters, the semis and the finals, they are also 8 ends.
Okay.
Hello to Kim in the chat. She says, well, Anna's not known for playing safe. She does give us exciting games, but not sure Kim can really handle this kind of excitement. I agree, Kim. I think this may be a bit too exciting for all of us. John in the chat says, if you want the scores for the other games, you can click on the link on the description. That's exactly right. The static cam is watching the games on sheets 3 and 4. And the invisible rink on sheet 1, you can check in the scores from that either via the link there or via the tournament website or via worldcurling.org, where you'll find the information for all of the WCT events, the men's events, ladies events, mixed doubles events and wheelchair events.
Viertel, kann Charlie holen.
Certainly stones in play then, out front for Hasselborg's team. That's what they need. But Schwaller's big hitting team, they may have to be patient to get a mistake out of this team.
Almost. Huh? It's close. Yeah. It's close.
Yeah, do join the chat. We love to see it. There's various friends in there. I'll try and keep eyes open. The chat's moving quite quickly. We've got a lot of folks joining in this evening, but I'll try and keep eyes open if there's any questions or comments for us. So no, we don't have mods, but be nice, please. or I shall tell you off in front of everyone. So this is looking a bit better for Anna. They've still got stones out front there. But not for much longer, I wouldn't think.
Draus zo! Oké. Oder willst du rein?
Ich hätte einen ausgenommen.
Okay, ist gut. Es sind unsere Garten, da können wir immer runnen.
Ja? Ja, ja, voll.
Ja!
As expected, big weight coming from Michael Brunner. I think they were actually going for the shot. Oh, they are, yeah. I thought they were going to be taking the guards off, but that's exactly the half shot that Anna would be hoping for. That's why they played that yellow nice and close to that red to try to get a little bit of a mistake from Schwaller. As far as I know, this channel isn't geo-blocked. There's various discussion going on in the chat about being able to watch this channel in other countries. And as far as I know, you can watch this channel wherever you are. So do come and join us here in the WCT Club, our virtual curling room, virtual curling club room, where really everyone is welcome, no matter where you're situated.
Abhouden, bist drauf! Willst du da oder was?
That shot then coming up a little bit short for Hasselborg's team, but better short than long.
Können wir schon von mir aus?
Wer mein Erster? Sie hat nur noch 3 Steine.
Ist gut?
This is a more aggressive call that Yannick's had than I would. I think I would say to myself, yeah, in +6, I don't really want any stones in play, and I think I would start moving the stones at the front, but he may be thinking, well, we can finish this game off here if they can score once more. I think we may have a minimum of playing 6 ends. I'm not too sure. Actually, no, that can't be true because there were a couple of games this morning that were off a bit early as well. But yeah, that could be that Schwaller's saying, well, yeah, let's just keep the pressure on and maybe we can finish this game early. But that's not a bad result. I think that really cancels out that yellow. Very difficult to bring that yellow back into play. Let's see how the other sheets are getting on then. While Anna Hasselborg's team are courageously plugging their way, hopefully, back into this game. As we thought on the invisible sheet on sheet 1, it's Van Dorp versus Ramsfjell. We've been practicing our Norwegian all weekend, and hopefully mine is getting less like Welsh. And that is a very tight affair. Ramsfjell's already on 4 points and in the mix for qualification through their last shot draw, so they would love to win this and go to 6 points and qualify for the quarterfinals that way. Van Dorp's team, they're on 2 points, so they need to win this to even be in the mix of all the teams on 4 points and rely on their last shot draw. And really tight affair, it is 1-0 to Ramsfjell after 3 ends, 2 blank ends, and then Ramsfjell scoring 1 point with the hammer in the 3rd end. And from my angle here in the 4th end, looks like Ramsfjell's pretty nicely set up actually. But this is exactly how Van Dorp plays all their games. They're not afraid to put loads of stones in play, and it doesn't bother them looking at a house full of stones, and Walter is very consistent at drawing them out of trouble. So that's the game on rink 1. Very cagey affair. On rink 3, we have Team Bannwart from Switzerland playing Joe Retornaz of Italy. Retornaz already qualified for the quarterfinals this evening, win or lose, but they're continuing to win. The hugely consistent Italian team, they are 2-1 ahead after 3 ends against Team Bannwart. So again, Sweden not quite finding the curl there, and I think, well, they've maybe got away with that. Yannick finding a bit too much curl on that stone. So nobody quite burying that stone around that line yet. Let's see if Anna can do that this time.
Oder spielst du so total anders wie? Was ist los?
Ich gebe zu mir raus. Aber vom Sliding her bist also einfach so, und dann gehst du wirklich ein bisschen aktiv für das.
Okay.
Aber mich jetzt bis jetzt nicht schlecht um.
Ja. Ja.
Aber wenn, dann hätte ich so sein.
Was für ein Körper. Aber immerhin können sie nur noch 2 machen.
And our final game on sheet 4. That's another important one. That is Team Klima from Czech Republic playing Team Schneider from Switzerland. Team Schneider had a tough day yesterday. They had 2 losses yesterday, but they beat Anna Hasselborg's team in the lunchtime draw. Super game from them. Went, again, all the way to the last stone, as most games actually, or well, maybe not most, but certainly plenty of games have gone all the way to the last end. So Schneider's team, they're on 2 points, and they need to win this game to give themselves a chance at qualifying with 4 points, and depending on their last shot draw. I think either way, I hope Schneider's team are pretty happy that they beat the Olympic champions. That was Hasselborg's first loss. They got 2 wins yesterday, so they're having the opposite kind of experience to Team Schneider. Team Klima from the Czech Republic, they can't qualify any longer, even if they win this game, but they can certainly finish off André Schneider's tournament as well. So that is 2 each after 3 ends between Klima and Schneider. Oh, thank you, Curling Seb, saying my Norwegian pronunciation is improving. I shall practice between now and when we'll be in Lillehammer for the Europeans. I think it might be Yannick Schwaller who has finally got the weight and the curl. That's pretty nice from Yannick. There is a little space there, but not sure how yellow is getting 2 points here. As we say, getting 1 point. Yeah, they're going to have to score at some time, but yeah, getting 1 point is not helping them. They will give up last stone and still be 5 points behind. Ooh, just saw a spectacular raised double from André Schneider's team. That will help their qualification intentions. I think this, of course, this is really do or die here, though, isn't it? This could be the last throw of the ladies' weekend here. But for the sake of good curling, let's all cheer Anna and hope she gets this. It's a huge raise. It's about 5 meters or something. Ah, no, she's not going for a big weight. They're sweeping it all the way. It sounds like they've lost it. Yeah, they didn't quite get the angle there in the yellow to punch it back. So the idea was to punch that yellow back onto the red and punch it back just enough to sit 2 yellow. But that's another
Thank you. Good luck.
another
Thank you. Good luck.
steal of 1 red, and yeah, I think there's no way back from there. That big 4, unfortunately, in the first end, really making life, or in the second end, sorry, really making life a bit too difficult. Oh, so that's a pity. Hasselborg's team do still have a chance. As I said, they stay on 4 points, and there's a bucket full of teams on 4 points. I'm not too sure how their draw shot is. I can try to quickly find that out, though. Let's see. I think it's not up yet because this round hasn't finished, so I'm not sure how Hasselborg's draw shot was. What you're looking at here, Michael Brunner holding the brush for draw shot challenge for Yannick Schwaller. They are qualified already. They now have 8 points, so they're top of the pile. I think there are there's 2 teams already on 8 points. No, they are the 3rd team with 8 points. So Edin's team and Peter de Cruz's team and Yannick Schwaller all on 8 points. And they are doing last shot draw in anticipation of the quarterfinals this evening. Everyone else will still have to wait and see. And gosh, really not taking their foot off the gas at all, are they, Schwaller? He's like, for an encore after beating the Olympic champions, I'm just going to cover the pin. Wow. So we'll see if we can find something else to watch. That was a pity. Yeah, really just that big engine 2 really changes the nature of the game. And yeah, as Kim said earlier in the chat, Anna's quite happy to take risks. And they're champions they've won just about everything, haven't they? So it certainly works for them. But yeah, this evening or this afternoon, not quite. But we'll see if we can find something else to watch. And it looks like they are still in with a chance. They're doing a last shot draw now as well. Clearly then they are still in with a chance of playing again this evening, being one of the teams that qualifies on 4 points. Pretty decent from Anna. That won't count for qualification for this evening, of course. This is in case they are playing this evening, and that will be their draw shot challenge for a quarter-final game, if that ends up happening. Definitely a pity then. I think there were quite a few folks looking forward to this game. I don't want to trash talk anyone, of course. Yeah, just one of those things. I must admit, we saw pretty much the same thing happening to Yannick Schwaller. They had a game against Peter de Cruz, and they accidentally lost a 6 in one of the ends. And again, there was no way back from that. So you win some, you lose some. Sometimes it is your day, and you pick up a strong game like that from Schwaller. They really hit the ground running and don't let up. And sometimes it's not your day. It can happen either way to all these top teams. You can't be on top form every stone of every end. Michaela has a sad face because our game has finished early. Me too, Michaela. There's still plenty of interesting stuff going on. As I said, the games on sheet 1 and sheet 4, both critical for qualification for this evening. At the halfway point on sheet 1, that's the invisible sheet, we have Van Dorp against Ramsfjell, and Ramsfjell, the Norwegian team, keeping the pressure on Van Dorp actually. Van Dorp, last year's losing finalists, but not having such a strong tournament this year. And 2-0 is the score at half-time to Ramsfjell, so they're giving themselves a great chance to qualify. Looks like they're lying pretty nicely in the 5th end as well. And over here on sheet 4, they are still in their 4th end. But don't worry, we have 4 more games coming up this evening. We have the quarterfinals at 8:30 European, and I'm sure that will be 4 great games to watch. And then tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning European, we have the semi-finals, and at 1:30 we have the final. So you've just time to go and walk the dog and do the dishes and so on. And then you can have a nice cold beer, take your iPad out into the garden and enjoy a nice summer evening with curling on your iPad or something. Curling Seb says 8:30 normal human time, right? And, well, yes, European time is the normal time. Or no, I suppose that's probably Greenwich Mean Time, isn't it? That's the default time. Let me check with our technical chiefs if there's anything else we can watch, rather than just looking at the game that's finished and trying to listen to the games that are not. We've been discussing if radio curling would ever work, and I'm of the conclusion that I don't really think it would, no. But let me check. Do we want to watch anything else? Or switch off the radio?
The only thing I could give you the whole signal of this. I can give you the video.
Yeah, okay. We can jump over there. In the same channel here, or jumping over to the other one?
This is we stay on this channel.
Okay.
I give you just a picture.
So if you're still there, we're trying to find something else to watch, because there's 3 interesting games still happening, and we're looking at the one place where the game has finished. John, we don't have any tiebreakers, no. No time for that. Win or lose, and cumulative draw shot challenge. And that's it. I think that's pretty standard now, actually. I don't think any of the competitions have a tiebreaker anymore. So we're trying to switch over to watch rinks 3 and 4 instead. There's a critical game on rink 4 between Klima and Schneider. And there's more of a fun game if you're a viewer. It doesn't have any impact on the qualifications again from Bannwart against Retornaz. Oh yeah, we can watch the static cam together. Otherwise, I can go and have a beer. But don't forget to join us at 8:30 this evening, European time. I would be a bit surprised if any of those games finished early. Typically, that's my favourite round of a competition. If you want to watch loads of good curling, you've got 4 quarter-finals out all at the same time, the top 8 teams in the competition. I think that's the round with the most potential for 4 terrific games at once. So we're switching over to try to watch rinks 3 and 4 here in this same chat. Yes, John, we do our best to entertain everyone up here. I can see all 4 games. We've got cameras and eyes on everything. But definitely easier if you can see what's happening as well. It's a little bit like radio snooker. Not really much fun unless you can see what's going on, or black and white snooker. So on the left of our screen there, and this is the static cam now, so this is our view just the whole time. But yeah, on the left of our screen, we've got Team Joe Retornaz, already qualified for this evening. But they are looking for a nice high placing. They're on 6 points, and they would love to get to 8 points and potentially sit top of the pile. So they'll be taking this game just as seriously against Team Bannwart of Switzerland. Looking pretty handy again, the Italians, aren't they? Yellow stones all over the place. And on the right, this is our critical game. André Schneider's team throwing yellow. Playing just now. They're on 2 points just now. And they can haul themselves up to join that group of teams on 4 points if they win this game. Klima's team, the Czech team, their opposition, throwing red here on the right. Their tournament is over after this game, but if they can beat Schneider, they will knock him out of the competition. So I'm definitely interested to watch particularly the Schneider game. They lost both their games yesterday, but they really pulled themselves up. They beat Anna Hasselborg. They had to win that game at lunchtime, which they did. And now they've given themselves a chance to qualify still. Not sure how their draw shot challenge is. All of these teams really good at draw shot challenge these days. I'm sure it'll be fairly close. Bradley says someone get Lorna a beer. Yes, yes. So if anyone in the club room is keeping eyes on the game via YouTube here, hopefully a beer will present itself shortly. Joel's Italian team on the left of our screen there then, again, not messing about. They will be quite happy to finish this game off early if they can and give themselves a rest until quarter-final this evening. Klima's team then, the Czech team that we see on the right, throwing red stones. They haven't had a terrible weekend, you know, they're still looking for a first win, but it's not like they've been playing badly. They were leading Anna Hasselborg's team for 127 out of 120 stones and lost literally when the last stone came to rest, so they must have thought they were off to a great start, but rather snatched a defeat from the jaws of victory, sadly. And then they lost in an extra end to Team Jan Hess, also from Switzerland. So it's not like they've been having a rubbish weekend, Team Klima. They certainly haven't. It's just really difficult out there. One or two loose shots can really turn a game here. They can still have an influence though, Klima's team. They would love to finish with a win, and a win for Klima's team would end Anthony Schneider's tournament as well. So that game on the right of our screen, that's the critical one for qualifying. And on the left of our screen, the very consistent Italian rink just going about their business of quietly putting their opponents out of the competition. And meanwhile, I've still got an eye on the invisible sheet on sheet 1, which is another essential game for qualifying. That is Team Van Dorp against Team Ramsfjell. Nice Italian setup there on the left of the screen. Wouldn't take much to squirt that red out and be lying 2 or 3 even yellow stones in the forefoot. Schneider 3-2 up at the halfway point over Klima. They've really had a scrap every game, Team Schneider. I think if they do qualify this evening, they may be one of the teams that's had to throw the most stones and do the most sweeping to get themselves there. Whereas in contrast, I'm not even sure if Peter de Cruz's team has played 8 ends total yet. They've been absolutely walloping through everyone. Last shot coming up on sheet 1. Netherlands and Van Dorp drawing against 1 by the look of it for Ramsfjell from Norway. Walter typically pretty reliable at drawing them out of trouble, but he has to find the 1 foot here. Not so easy. And they're all standing back because I think it's just, yeah, it's about 20 centimetres too far only, but a lot of pressure there on Walter's last stone. So looks like Ramsfjell and Norway winning them to death at the moment. They're just picking up, quietly picking up 1 point every end. 3-0 then after 5 ends for Ramsfjell versus Van Dorp. Van Dorp has to win that game to stay in the competition. Ramsfjell at the moment on 4 points in the mix to qualify, but if they win this game, they should qualify automatically. Same over here on sheet 4. Anthony Schneider playing Yellowstones. They have to win this game to stay in the competition. And all Klima can do is frustrate them and maybe knock them out. Looks like Bannwart over there on the left of our screen. Looks like they're even playing with 3 players. I hope one of them hasn't given up already. I haven't been keeping too close an eye on that. I'm not sure if someone's had to go off or if they started that way. Pretty difficult playing with 3 at this level though. Very tiring. I think that was last stone from Schneider there in this 5th end. Oh no. My mistake. 3 stones left actually. 2 for Klima, 1 for Schneider. Heaps of stones over on the left in the Italian game, but as usual, Italy lying very nicely in the middle of it all. John asks, is Retornaz still in it? He certainly is. They are unbeaten so far, and they're looking comfortable so far in this game. I don't want to tempt fate. Retornaz already qualified for quarterfinals, win or lose this game, but they would much prefer to win this game and go to 8 points instead. Very consistent last year, Retornaz's team. They typically got through their round robin without a loss, and they were getting to loads of semi-finals and finals, but didn't quite manage to push it over the line. And that's one of my favourite teams to watch, so I'm really hoping that they can just find that little bit of extra, whatever whatever is missing. I hope they can find that little extra to push it over the line this season. Levin, thanks for joining us in the chat. We'll hopefully have you back maybe later this evening or tomorrow for the finals. If you're interested in the progress of Ramsfjell, they are quietly making Van Dorp's life very difficult again. And Van Dorp running out of ends a bit over there. They're in their 6th end, and a couple of yellow counters already there with a couple of Dutch corner guards in play. On rank 4 then, the other game that's important for qualifying. Andrew Schneider's last stone just popping out. Klima can definitely see enough of it. clear though, but they haven't quite found the line with that though. And I think that's a steal of one to Schneider. That's a handy point up on the board in the 5th end then. They are getting ever closer from going from almost bottom of the table yesterday evening and really pulled themselves together and having a really strong day today and getting themselves in contention for qualifying. Great work from Schneider's team today. Bannwart circus shot on sheet 3, not really coming off, and another point to the Italians. The Italians already qualified for this evening. They'll be wanting to get off as soon as possible, really, this game, but first things first, they do want to win this game. There, that score confirmed on sheet 4. A stolen point for Andre Schneider. He was either a bit too wide or a bit too heavy, Klima, with his last shot there. Rolled out himself, giving that steal, and that could be very handy in the context of winning this game and putting themselves in contention for qualifying for the quarterfinals this evening. It's a bit difficult to predict what we will be watching in our featured game on sheet 2 this evening, because we really can't say which 8 teams are going to be playing really until the last stone of this round. But we will be watching sheet 2, whoever is on there. I guess the organisers will probably look for the lineup that we viewers would find the most entertaining. And life not getting much easier for Team Klima out there. The corner guard has drifted into the house and I don't think we'll be there much longer. Life also not getting much easier for Team Van Dorp. Their backs are really against the wall here, last year's finalists. They've only got 3 ends left, including this one. And they're struggling a bit to get stones in play. They're struggling to keep stones in the rings and start building an end over there. That's on sheet 1. We've got a nice busy club room this year. We weren't really able to have live spectators last year. That's not what I meant. Of course, all of our spectators are live, but what I meant was we weren't really allowed to have spectators here at the club. We were a lot stricter in terms of coronavirus restrictions with social distancing and whatnot. Nice to see full club room again this year. Typically well supported, the Swiss competitions. It's a nice evening out to come to the curling club, sit with all your friends, have a beer, have a nice cheerful blah blah about curling. I did manage to talk to Team Jan Hess a little bit earlier. I don't think we've had them in the featured game, unfortunately, this weekend. It's hard to get round to everyone, but they've been on the static cam a couple of times, and they were playing with 3 players this morning. And I just asked them if everyone was okay, not that somebody had got injured or sick. And actually, Simon had an exam today. They said, yeah, it's always the same at Baden Masters. It's always exam time for their studies. A very stressful weekend then for Team Hess. I think one of them had an exam yesterday, and one of them had an exam this morning, and that's why they were playing with 3. We can really appreciate them wanting still to play in this competition then, when clearly they have plenty other stuff going on that needs their concentration as well. Here's a nice shot in Schneider's rink. Very well played. Looking like they are in the mood for a quarter-final, Andre Schneider. I don't know how their last shot draw challenge is compared with the other teams in contention, but I think that will be most impressive. As I said, had a tough day yesterday. They had 2 losses yesterday. They were languishing at the bottom of the table yesterday, and they've battled all the way to put themselves in contention today, which is pretty impressive, including a win over the Olympic champions Anna Hasselborg. Over on sheet 1, things still looking quite bright for our Norwegian team. One Norwegian team, Steffen Walstad, already on 6 points, already qualified for this evening. And Magnus Ramsfjell hoping to make that 2 Norwegian teams qualified for this evening. And going about it in a very good way this evening. On the left of our screen, or the sheet 3 game, as usual, Italy just not getting into a mess at all. They keep such a tight ship, that Italian team. They're so efficient with the hammer, they almost never get into a mess. And here they are, just peeling guards. And we all love peeling guards, because that means you must be playing pretty well. Retornaz's team from Italy already qualified as well for this evening, but they will be eager to finish this game and get off and have a bit of a rest before 8:30 for the quarterfinals. If you wonder what we look like up here in technical corner, that's me. Not so interesting as watching the stones, probably. But yeah, that's what we look like up here in technical corner. Oh dear, the curling Seb says I need to brush up on my pronunciation of Walstad. Curling Nord advised me yesterday that the D is, what is it, occasionally silent or something. It's all rather confusing, but can definitely practice that. Michaela asks if the curlers can hang out in the club area or if they all go back to the hotel. I mean, I think it's their choice, honestly. I think it's, as we said, it's less strict than last year. Last year it was really no players in the club area. We all stayed up here. The players stayed in the ice hall and in the locker rooms to maintain that social distance. So they would just go back to the hotel. Yeah, I think because several of these teams will have another game this evening, they may not come up to the club area after this game. But they can if they want. So probably maybe after the quarterfinals, you may see a few of the teams sitting up in the club area if maybe their competition is finished by this evening. I think at this level often, a lot of the teams do still sit together, but it's not maybe quite as much of a thing as at the club level. At club level, you do always sit together after the game and have a drink together. And at this level, not always, just because, as I said, typically a team may have another game coming, so it's understood that they want to maybe have a bit of a rest or talk to their coach. But it's still pretty friendly out there, I think. That's still the default, would be to have a drink together after the game. Unless, yeah, you maybe have to prepare for another game shortly or so. On rink 4 then, as we're looking at it, Schneider in a bit of trouble actually in this end. Lying 2 against, and Klima does have last stone. Looking for a nice shot with this stone. I'm not sure if he's going for a hit and roll or trying for the double. I think the double's certainly makeable. And over on invisible sheet 1, I'm going to stick to my easier Norwegian pronunciation. Our Norwegian team Ramsfjell, they picked up 2 against the head in that 6th end, and that makes the score 5-0 over there. And I think Van Dorp is running out of ends. We're in the 7th end. I don't see them getting 5 points back over this Norwegian team at this stage. Never say never, but I think it looks like Van Dorp's tournament could be over after a couple of ends, and looks like Ramsfjell will be marching on to the quarters. We're determined to get Lorna's Norwegian pronunciation up to scratch by the end of the weekend. I do have trouble with Wouter's name as well. Huesli. My Dutch is not great either. Oh, thank you, Curling Seb. Yes, depending where you're from in Norway, the D is mute, so right, that's helpful. I have a friend, actually, a New Zealand friend, and she does speak Norwegian. She's from New Zealand originally, but she does speak Norwegian, and she was trying to explain the complications of certain pronunciations for me as well. And over on sheet 1, Team Ramsfjell not messing about anymore. They are hitting for home in the 7th end, anticipating they will also have a game at 8:30. they would like to finish this game, get off, get some food, have a rest, chat to their coach before before quarterfinals this evening. Schneider's back really against the wall though. All that hard work for the first 5 ends coming undone a little bit in the 6th end on the right of our screen. He's facing at least 2 reds, and I think it's 3. So this better be good, Andre. Looks like the call is to nose up to that redstone. I don't think you've got too many options, Andre, so I always tend to feel too much jibber jabber can be detrimental actually. You can kind of lose the rhythm, lose the feel a wee bit. So do make sure you're going for the right shot, but do in fact get on with it. And the Italians, it's all over on sheet 3. Tidily finishing that game off. That was a very impressive performance from one of my favourite teams. And we will see them again at 8:30. They will just now be doing their last shot draw for this evening's game. And yeah, typically it's Simon Gonin, their lead thrower. He typically throws their last shot draw because that's what he does all the time in a game. He's consistently throwing front of house and T-line. Looks like the call from Andre then is actually to go for the double takeout. And I think if he's very clever, he'll get a roll to the right of our screen behind cover. And that's maybe wise thinking there. He's hoping he'll get rid of at least 2 reds. And then maximum he's losing is 2 points, and then they're still on top of this game. But if he muffs the freeze, he could be losing a hatful. So yeah, this is a wise move. I'd like to see Schneider in the quarters actually. They've been knocking on the door for a wee while now. So just gets rid of the 1 unfortunately. And I think they're losing 3 here. And that's a pity after really being on top of this game for the first 5 ends, I would say. That's why you need to keep your concentration going the whole game. As I said, Klima's not had a lot of wins this weekend. They're still looking for that first win, but it's not like they haven't been playing well. Michaela brings up speaking Finnish in the chat. I seem to be getting on better with Finnish actually. I knew a couple of phrases in Finnish. I know before the game you say loistava pella, which means have a really good game, as far as I understand. Yeah, no trouble there for Klima when he gets the chance to put some pressure on. They take it, so a big 3 there for Klima in the 6th end, and Schneider's team still got a bit of work to do if they want to put themselves in contention for quarterfinals this evening. Looked like Retornaz's team on rink 3 looked like they were pretty close to covering the hole. And we'll need to see where they end up. There are now 4 teams on 8 points. And that is Team de Cruz, Team Edin, Team Retornaz and Team Schwaller. Those 4 teams all on 8 points. They'll be taking up the top 4 places. and it will depend on their draw shot challenge who ranks 1 to 4. And since we're speaking about the northern languages, that in Icelandic, before you start the game, you say "Willkommen til leiks," which means "welcome to the game" in English, which I think is a very charming way to start the game. I should find out what they say in Czech language and in Dutch and so on. Right, plenty of work still to do here in the last 2 ends. In the game on rink 4, Klima versus Schneider. Easier path over on sheet 1 for Magnus Ramsfjell. Good heavens, I wish you could see rink 1. Unfortunately, that's the only rink we can't see, but they have a centre guard, and they've more or less got 4 yellow stones lined up right behind that centre guard in a lovely, pretty line right up to the 4-foot. So if I was Jaap van Dorp, I think I'd be maybe now checking where the next train home is. I don't see any way out of this for them. I think this is surely going to be the last end. 3 stones to come on rink 1 then, in the 7th end. Team Klima doing everything they can to frustrate Team Schneider's attempt to qualify for this evening's quarters. Over in sheet 1, perfect draw with Wouter's first shot. He could not have covered the lid any more perfectly if he'd wandered up there and just placed the stone right on top. But yeah, getting 1 point back at this point for Netherlands, that's not going to help them. And even if they score 1 point here, I'm not sure if they would continue to the 8th end. But let's see. That would make the score 5-1, and getting 4 against the head, pretty difficult. Super shot from Wouter, but I think that's going to be too little too late. And super shot from Team Schneider here on sheet 4. They maybe wanted that a little bit further in, but you can see it's really nicely buried, safely behind that corner guard. Lovely stone on sheet 1 with, that was Magnus Ramsfjell's last stone in the 7th end, and he just followed Wouter's stone in. I don't see any way that Netherlands can get another point. As I said, I wish you could see this because there's a lot of Norwegian stones all lined up in a very neat line behind a centre guard. That does leave all kinds of angles if you want to throw a big screamer at it. And again, nothing to lose for Netherlands here. I think their game is finished after this stone unless they can come up with a circus shot. So they may as well give it a go. If they think there's an angle there that they can spring off and get everything moving, they may as well give it a try. Meanwhile, here on sheet 4, Team Schneider still having a lot of work to do to get the win in this game and then give themselves a chance at qualifying for this evening's quarterfinals. Doing the right thing, but Team Klima keeping that pressure on. Van Dorp indeed going for an angle. They think they can see maybe a way to get a second point here. And then it could be worth playing the 8th end for sure. Oh, they're not far off, you know. That was a superb try from Walter. I think he was about 2.5 millimeters away from making 2 points, in fact. Their angle did work. But yeah, a score of 1 for Netherlands. They're not getting 4 points back in the 8th end, so fist bumps over there. And lovely steady performance by the look of it from Magnus Ramsfjell, and that will qualify a second Norwegian team for the quarterfinals this evening. But for last year's finalists, Team Van Dorp, yeah, they had a tough time of it this weekend. As I said, Netherlands is the only country that doesn't now have summer ice, and I know they've been practicing here in Adelboden, the team, but yeah, they don't quite have the resource that the other teams have over summer, and maybe that's showing this weekend that the other teams are just got to grips with the ice maybe a little bit quicker. They'll be disappointed, Van Dorp's team, last year's finalists. And as far as I know, talking to their coach Schori, they are playing in the event in Stirling in Scotland in a couple of weeks' time. And I'm sure they will be figuring out how they can improve on this weekend's performance. Life not getting any easier for Schneider's team out there. They do have last shot in the 7th end, but Klima doesn't mind at all if they force them. If he forces Schneider to score only 1, Klima will be pretty happy about that, and that's why he keeps on piling these reds in. I'm sure Andrew Schneider will be able to draw to right to the pin if he has to. Yeah, they're not quite catching their edges here. And Klima's just going to keep on putting that pressure on. That red in the forefoot doesn't leave Andrew Schneider a lot of space to draw on the counterclockwise handle with his last stone. It looks like that's what he's going to have to do. Certainly makeable. We've seen several folks make it already this weekend, including Irene Schori. We saw her make a lovely draw to the pin in their featured game yesterday. Nice simple stuff from Klima. It's not them who have to do the work in the 7th end. I think Schneider just has to persist with trying to eventually get that nice raise, that good angles, a nice double. But at the moment, Andrew Schneider is going to have to draw for 1 point with his last stone. Okay. This is also an idea, is okay, we're not quite finding our takeouts on the guards. They were not quite getting the doubles. So let's maybe switch it up and go for the centre instead. I think there's definitely space to get around those two guards at front and reach that red shot in the 4-foot and maybe just punch it back. Oh, this is a brave call then. Schneider realising, yeah, there's certainly no chance of blanking this end. That's exactly what Klima was trying to force. Klima doesn't want a blank end here. He wants Schneider to score 1. And Schneider saying, okay then, let's take the fight to them. That's a nice effort. They've at least got a yellow stone in there that they can use. They might have wanted it just about a metre or so longer, that they could punch that red over the tee line. Klima, yeah, babe. What does he really want to do here? If Klima scores 1, then he's plus 2 points, but doesn't have hammer. He would much rather, really, that Schneider scores 1 point and then scores our level, and Klima does have hammer. Just one game out there on sheet 4, the last round of the round robin here at the Baden Masters. We already have most of our teams qualified for the quarterfinals. There are 4 teams unbeaten so far, and they are Team de Cruz, Team Edin, Team Retornaz, and Team Schwaller. So potentially the 4 names you might have picked at the beginning of the competition to dominate their groups. There are a couple of teams on 6 points, and there's a heap of teams on 4 points, all of whom are watching Andrew Schneider's team out there, who need to win this game to get to 4 points. Having a go at it now then, Andrew Schneider. I think that was a good guard there from Klima. He doesn't really need to play anywhere near the short stones in the 4-foot. Three stones to come then, including this one. 2 from Schneider, 1 from Klima. All eyes on Schneider's team for the teams that are on 2 wins. Schneider's team fighting with every stone to try to give themselves a chance as well. It's just like a happy effort. Yep, yellow's lying 1 there. And I think, as we said, Klima's quite happy to give up 1 yellow. If I was him, I would consider throwing another guard and just challenging Andrew Schneider to find a way to make 2 points from this situation. Even if Schneider played a similar shot that he just threw, that's not going to get him 2 points. He's going to have to do something different to generate 2 points. They're all looking at that red popping out on the clockwise handle, and that's going to be the way to 2 points if you can get it. So that I might just guard that shot if I was Klima. I think it's very difficult for Schneider to get 2 points coming down the counterclockwise handle. I'm not sure that helps you, Klima. There's nothing much Schneider can do with that shot he just threw anyway, and they're all looking at the other handle. Maybe a little bit of inexperience showing there. I think the only shot that Schneider has to save their competition is on that red popping out that we can see on the clockwise handle. And I think there will be a mighty roar here in the club if André Schneider can make that shot for 2 points, even though we still have another end to go. Yeah, I think that was maybe a bit of a mistake. It doesn't really do them any harm, that shot, but I'm not sure if that was the most valuable use of their last shot in that 7th end, Klima. Yeah, that's the one they've all been looking at, is angling that red. I'm not sure you can make a mess here. Trying to see if there's a risk that if you do go for that shot, can you somehow accidentally squirt out both the yellows, and then that's a game over. But again, at this stage, does it make sense to just try that anyway? That we need to save the game with this shot either way. I think I prefer the clockwise handle. Yep. I think I prefer this shot, André. I don't think there's a way to squirt out both yellows and leave all the reds lying around. Yeah, I think that's your worst case, is that you'll squirt yellow onto yellow, but you should still be hanging around. And worst case, it's not the end of the world if you give up 1 red here. Then you'll be -2, but you will have last stone. But then the dreaded EE becomes a possibility, an extra end. And I can see the ice crew and the umpires down there already. I think trying to telepathically will one of those teams to win. Yeah, don't think about it too long, lads. Make up your mind and get down and play it. Don't lose the rhythm. Oh, thanks, Seb. I didn't realise you could still hear the players. Let me see what we can do about that. I can't hear the players in my headphones because we're mixing streams here, we're crossing the streams, which is, as you know from Ghostbusters, very dangerous. So I can't hear the players, but thank you for alerting us to that. So, decision is finally made. I would be interested to see how many shots work and don't work after these really long discussions, and at the Worlds and Europeans and so on, you have a timeout where you can call the coach down, and I'm sure that as often as not, the stone ends up not working because you spent too long chatting about it instead of just making a decision and get on with it. So let's see. I love to see this shot work. This is what I would have gone for. So he needs a little bit of weight. He's got a couple of stones to bump around. He's as close as you can get. Oh, what a try. What a great effort to just end up with 1 point. So close to getting it. Well, at least that more or less takes away the likelihood of an extra end. We more or less are playing an extra end now. Score of 1 point to yellow, that makes a score of 5 all. And this 8th end essentially is an extra end. It's a 1 end shootout. Both teams need to score. Phew. Happy ice techs, happy players. Two big stones coming up here then for lead thrower in Schneider's team. Let me just check his name. I haven't written their names down. Fabian Schmidt. 2 big stones for him. Essential that both of these land in exactly the right place to give themselves a chance. Yeah, they want this one just over the hog line, and just over the hog line it is. That's really difficult to do. It's difficult to throw that stone slowly enough that it just trickles over the hog line, but still in fact does get over the hog line. That's really difficult. Really nice shot there from Fabian Schmidt. And Klima is going to try the tick shot. Lead player on Team Klima is Samuel Mokrisch. He's certainly got a connection. I think he's made that very nicely, yep. You can see both Andre and another of the team ready to sweep that yellow. If they can sweep that yellow out, it will go back, of course. It's protected by the free guard zone, but nicely done by Team Klima there. Same drill then. Copy paste please for Fabian Schmidt. And I think he's got it again. Really nice stuff. Again, he wants that stone nice and close to the hog line, because then there are stones near the house that they may get a catch if the Klima team plays at the wrong angle, or they may end up spinning stones back into the house or back towards the centre line. I think it's not quite such a... No, didn't make the good connection this time. So Schneider's team still got a chance then. Very, very difficult to steal this kind of an end if those 2 tick shots work out with the first couple of stones. We saw that yesterday when we were doing radio curling for Edin's extra end, and Christopher Sundgren, he got 2 magnificent tick shots. He really could hardly have played them any better. And yeah, it's just too difficult to steal an end if both of those tick shots work. Now Schneider going for another guard. I think he is, yeah. I think that's a wise decision. Plenty of stones to come. You don't really need to go for the 4-foot or the button just yet. I think let's keep a bunch of stones out front. More chance of Klima's team catching a wrong angle. Big shove there from second thrower in Team Klima. That's is it Yiji Kanda? or Jirikanda. Haven't had to practice Czech language this weekend, but super shot. That bit of extra beans made the double takeout really nice and clean, so Schneider in a bit of trouble now. We do have a little bit of flexibility though. Our next round is not until 8:30, that's the quarterfinals. Schneider's team still the only team in with a chance of qualifying. That's a nice stone there from second thrower Felix Eberhard. Schneider's team need something out front to hide behind if they are going to steal this end and give themselves a chance to qualify for this evening. But their task looking quite difficult just now. Does that really help, Andre? The reason you might want to try to do that, to put in a shot behind cover there, more like a behind those corner guards, then you kind of know that with his last shot, Klima has a takeout, and you're kind of crossing your fingers a bit that instead of hitting and sticking, he would hit and roll out, and then your shot that you've now put behind those corner guards, that would then win you the game. It's possible, and if he has no other option, that could be a choice. This is coming up short though. I don't know if that was the call. But yeah, why not? I like that there. Again, plenty of stones either side of it and ahead of it that could catch this yellow and spin things around a bit, mix it up. Looks like everybody's happy with this stone. Yep, no mistake there. Cleanly away. Okay, so as we said, this isn't a daft idea. This is a kind of a second shot really, to get a shot safely in behind those corner guards. And that stone may win you the game if Klima makes a mistake with his last stone. Discussing extra ends in the chat, and yes indeed, nobody really likes extra ends except the 4 players that needed it. But as we said, this is essentially extra end tactics out there in the 8th end because scores are level. So I think they have their insurance stone in now behind the corner guards, Andrew Schneider's team. I'm right behind that sheet and I can tell you that is very safely buried. Klima wanted to cancel that out. I think the safer shot is to remove the guards, Mr. Klima. If you get this wrong, that's exactly what Schneider is trying to get you to do, is to make a mistake, trying to cancel that winger. I think I would try and remove those corner guards, because look, there's 2 of them nicely set up for a double. So if ever they're going to make a mistake, I would say this is when it might happen. And they have made a mistake because they have not cancelled out that yellow. That's exactly the mistake Andre Schneider was looking for. But he's got the mistake now. What does he do with it? You need to know what your plan is from here to the last stone. Curling Seb, I do remember the time that Edin blanked the 10th end, yeah, only to win in the extra. I also remember Team Edin, I think it was in a European final about 7 or 8 years ago maybe, against Thomas Ulsrud, and played the whole 10th end knowing he was going to lose one and knowing he would have last shot in the extra end and finishing it from there. So, Schneider got the mistake from Klima. What can he do with it? Oh, Angie, this is coming up short as well. It's a huge sweep from the boys, but I don't think there's much they can do. Well, maybe that's what they wanted. Looked like Herstall was tapping his brush there. I don't know if that was a plan B or if that's what they called immediately. I said yesterday that Andrew's a canny player. That's what we would call him in Scotland. Canny is, I know in the north of England they use that word as well. It means a clever player. Difficult to beat. They always know what they're doing. And his plan is going about as well as it could. Important shot here then. Klima's first stone in this 8th end. I think he's trying to go red to yellow, sorry, yellow to red to yellow. That moves the immediate danger, but Schneider still has a chance to make their life difficult. Now, where do you put this one? You've got your insurance shot, so if Klima muffs it with his last shot, if he does a hit and roll out, that yellow behind the wings, that's exactly what that's there for. So actually just hitting this more or less on the nose, or maybe a little roll to the left of our screen as we see it. Tempt Klima into a hit in the 8 foot and tempt him to try and hit and roll out and have that insurance shot pick you the game. That would be a impressive way to finish. Controlled weight. Essential, this yellow hangs around as well. Ooh, it's overrolled a wee bit. That makes the hit a little bit easier for Klima, but he's got to make it. He has to hit and stick. Surely a minimum of discussion needed here. So, tough ask for Schneider to win this 8th end, but they've given themselves every chance. They've played it about as well as they can. They've played 8 for 8 stones, and now it's all down to whether Klima can hit and stick with this last shot. We've seen a couple of stones roll out, not necessarily from Klima, but we've seen a couple of stones missed from this place. They're sweeping it really hard for line. And goodness me, that's caught the curl, hasn't it? Now, is that going to roll too far? Oh my lord, is it even going to hit? I am not quite sure what to say about that. Let's see. Brave effort from Schneider. All they could do was give themselves the chance. And they didn't even need their insurance stone. The shot stone did the job for them. Well, I think that surprised everybody. There are 8 shocked faces down there. But great effort from Schneider. Of course, they really dug themselves out from tough day yesterday, and I think they've given themselves a chance to qualify. But yeah, first things first, thanks for the game. That's a tough one for Klima. He should really be making a shot like that. As I said, I don't actually know what the draw shot challenge looks like for all the different teams. I just know that I think there will be at least 1, maybe 2 teams who can qualify for tonight, just in a couple of hours, for the quarterfinals on 4 points, and that includes, since 30 seconds ago, Team Andrew Schneider. So I hope they're proud of themselves, whatever happens, even if they get knocked out on the last shot draw, or draw shot challenge rather, even if they get knocked out at this stage, what a fight. The reward for that heroic struggle is 1 more last shot draw. I assume these last shot draws the teams are doing, I assume they did not count towards the overall total, but maybe they do. Let's make this one good anyway. This looks pretty nice coming in. Nice team shot, good sweeping. Great way to finish. As I said, I would love to see Andrew Schneider in the quarter-finals. I think they've been knocking on the door for a while. So that concludes the round robin here in Baden. As I said, hard for me to tell you exactly who's in the quarterfinals. I can certainly tell you that there are 4 teams undefeated so far. They are the Cruz, Edin, Retornaz and Schwaller, 4 real big hitters. But do join us back at 8:30 European, so just under 2 hours time. And let's see who else we get to play in the quarterfinals. So thanks for joining us, and bye for now.